Maths teacher and writer Bobby Seagull is here to tell us what
Very
caught
proud
his
of your
eye.
Mathematical T-shirt, yeah, all different formulas, equations linked to a tree. It doesn't have, one of the producers pointed out, it doesn't have Pythagoras on it because you could have used a bit of Pythagoras to work out
triangle.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
were you thinking? You did set us a maths challenge earlier.
I did.
We're going to reveal the answer a little bit later on, but first of all, tell us what's caught your eye in the papers today.
Yes. So the first story I'm picking is from the Sunday Times. Super college in Northern England to give powerhouse an almighty high-tech boost. So when we think of the great technology universities in the world, the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, comes to mind. And the alumni from there include Buzz Aldrin, second man on the moon, Kofi Annan, UN General Secretary, and even Iron Man's Tony Stark. He went to MIT.
Oh, wow.
So the government's thinking we need to create our own version of the MIT, but in the north. So thinking of potentially at Leeds to create a university where ultimately it's about creating the space, technical support and seed money so that academics can convert their research ideas into practical business ideas and benefits.
Wow.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because promises for the North were a massive part of the Conservative manifesto, and things like this would give it some credence, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And again, if you look at UK's leading universities, we've got Oxford and Cambridge, I'm studying my part-time doctorate, and other London and Russell Group universities. But we need to make sure as a country that we spread the academic university places around the country, and to create a tech centre up north would be brilliant.
It's good of you to fit us in with a part-time doctorate, teaching in a secondary school and doing the papers for us as well. Tell us about this one. This is another teaching story. This is robots and children who are poorly.
Yes, this is also tech-related, so my terrible dad joke for the day is we're segueing into this story.
Very good, very good, very good.
So as a teacher, Mr. Seagull, as a teacher, sometimes when students are away for illness for short or protracted periods, it can be difficult to know what to do because do you just send them the worksheets? But after a while, you know, if there's not a teacher there, the kids can get disengaged or find it challenging. So in Somerset, they've been trialling sending robots, bots, just under £3,000 each. So there's one in the class and one in the child's home. So almost like a Skype. So the kid can sit at home while maybe they're ill, but watch the lessons going on in real time and perhaps even interact with the teacher. Okay. So it's a great way of ensuring that students who are away from the class don't miss out on the interaction completely.
Like a video conference.
That's good, isn't it? Because so much of learning is about that rapport with the teacher.
It is.
For poorly kids, it's kind of a way of bridging that.
Yeah, so this could be a future, especially they could apply this to places like remote villages. Imagine in remote parts of the world where you only have like 10 students per 100 square kilometres, but you could have the same bots they're applying in Somerset.
Although if they're very good at their jobs, you might lose yours.
OK, so don't make them too good.
And then we've got this one here. That was in the Sun on Sunday. This is in the Mail on Sunday. Soccer stars foot the biggest car cover bills. I'm going to cover this one up because it's one that we didn't want to show for various reasons.
Intriguing.
I don't know why, but
yeah,
I'm not doing a very good job. Hang on, let me fold this.
It's not exactly a picture
it's
story.
It's not a massive story. It's about soccer stars and big car cover bills. Tell me about this.
Yeah, the reason I picked this story is actually when I talk to my students about the application of maths and probability, insurance is a real-life application where you get mathematicians, statisticians and actuarial scientists looking at various risk factors. But ultimately, insurance companies need to cover their risks. We're pooling risks as a society, and they need to assess individuals or groups of people, and they've assessed that actually professional footballers are the riskiest. So they paid, on average, £2,000 a year, whereas the least risky are exam invigilators. So the ones who walk up and down, checking. I guess they're very, they've got order and structure.
So do you think there's a team of psychologists looking at the kind of character that goes into that career path?
So I think...
And then making up the risk
So I think what they do is they'll do that, but also they'll actually monitor, look at all these groups of people and check how many accidents they have. Yeah. So it's very statistical based, it's very empirical.
TV presents very high as well, unfortunately. So let's just go back to your maths challenge.
So it's 1-1 on the sofa this morning. I had a mental maths aberration and was beaten to the final answer.
If it's right, we don't even know if
it's right, it's right. Okay. Go on.
So the puzzle again, it was my book, The Life-Changing Magic of Numbers, and it's Santa Claus is travelling to attend BBC4's Christmas lectures on Boxing Day. Make sure you watch it. Mrs. Claus travels separately. Santa starts at 6 p.m. and flies on a sleigh at 100 miles an hour. Mrs. Claus starts 30 minutes later and flies at 150 miles an hour. At what time will they cross each other?
OK.
Now, I said 7:30. She's cruising by him on
Quite
the
a
outside
few other
lane.
people have said that as well.
They might be right. So what was the method that you used?
Well, do you know what? It's kind of a cheat. I just went with an hour, and I thought if we look where they both are in an hour's time, where does that get us to? So 100 and 150, and
Yeah.
then but she started half an hour later, so
And was yours
I
a
didn't have to adjust very much actually.
just nudging it up. I did it in 15-minute segments.
Yeah.
But is there a clever equation to it?
You can set up a system of equations, but one easy way of doing it is looking at that first there's 30 minutes where Santos travelled. So he travels at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So in 30 minutes he must travel
50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, Mrs. Claus has to catch up 50 miles an hour. So the key thing now is look at the relative difference in speed. So Mrs. Claus travels at 150 miles an hour, and
it's that
Santa
easy,
travels
isn't it?
at 100. What's the difference in speed between the two?
50 miles
50.
an hour, yeah.
So she has to catch up 50 miles an hour. How long would
In
you take
an
to do
hour
50?
and a half. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So because the half an hour, then the
So it's
additional
actually
hour.
very, very easy, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Shall I
when
tell you
do
what I
that?
found very useful?
Yeah.
Visualising them both in their sleighs and Mrs.
Yeah,
Claus going
and
faster.
you should be very cross as well with him at the end.
Yeah,
Why
I
did
bet
you
he
leave
was
without me?
Furious, yeah.
Someone pointed out maybe at one point they would realise they hadn't got each other presents and go off in different directions.
They've obviously got different speed limits up there, haven't they?
To be honest, I think they probably need to go a bit faster to
To get around the
get
world
around,
in a night,
right.
yeah. But they do every year. It's amazing. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you for coming in. Happy
Pleasure as
Christmas.
always. You
Lovely
too.
to see you.
Thanks.
All
Thank
the
you.
best for the new year.